what it is, what it ain't. All right, let's talk real quick about why your 1099A might not be working, or so you think. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain this a little bit in case we gotta catch you up. But a lot of people have been trying to buy cars and houses and benefits as a beneficiary from their Sesticade trust through filing a 1099A. It's IRS form 1099A. Okay, so basically this is for acquisition and abandonment of real property, aka something expensive. So typically somebody would use a 1099A, right? They get the 1099A, they fill it out, right, as their benefit as a beneficiary, and it works the same as a check. But the thing is, because you're accessing a trust for the money in order to pay for your house and your car, mind you, you can get a house and a car every year. So keep that in mind, because of course this trust is set up to take care of all of your needs as a human being, food, clothing, shelter, etc. So knowing that this 1099A is giving you access to money that's in a trust, you got to know that you need a trustee. A trustee is, of course, somebody who is going to be able to be the fiduciary, aka the person who has your best interest in mind as your representative whenever they're doing this. So they're going to have to file the papers for you. You can't do it by yourself. And mind you, that's not the only thing that they got to file. They got to file the payment voucher, you know what I mean, like 1040V, etc. And mind you, that's not everything you need to know. But a lot of these people, they'll get going, they like, hey, 1099, hey, cool. And then they'll try to hurry up and get to getting a house or a car. And it's like, bro, you got to really think. If you just came across that information and you trying to make it work, it's hundreds of thousands or at least tens of thousands of other people who also just came across the information who are suddenly trying to submit this stuff to the U.S. Treasury. So the U.S. Treasury is swamped, right? They are swamped. That means that they cannot keep up with the demand. They can't keep up with the demand because so many of y'all are submitting this form all of a sudden, or should I say your trustee is, and y'all are trying to get access. So keeping in mind that they are short-manned or short-staffed, and there's an abundance of these coming in, way more than they're used to dealing with. So when all they're going to do is make, I don't know, a few $1,000s off the transaction, they're not going to prioritize something like that over something that is, say, going to make them a few $100,000 or a few $1 million or even a few $1 billion. So your little $300,000 house, it might just get pushed back a little bit, pushed to the side, and then they're going to prioritize the things that are going to benefit them the most, of course. Of course, what I'm trying to explain to you, though, is that just because it's taking a long time doesn't mean it's going to work. But you got to recognize that the U.S. Treasury is backed up basically like a year. Now, mind you, I got a trustee friend who is in on all this stuff, and my trustee friend told me this information because they on the inside. So they know it's taking a long time for everybody's stuff to come in. So people are starting to say stuff like it don't work. It's not that it doesn't work. You are just going to have to wait way longer than you want to. But I mean, realistically, right, if you're going to get a free house and a car, typically somebody work over 30 years just to get a house and a car paid off. Or maybe a couple cars at the most. So if you got to wait a couple of years before the papers get pushed and you get your money for your house and or your car, you could wait. But in the meantime, let me put y'all on game. Y'all niggas got to recognize the conditional acceptance, right? This is way more powerful than that little 1099A thing. And a lot of y'all, for some reason, y'all like want to try to pick a shortcut or something now. I might not be talking to you, but I'm just talking about big picture. A lot of the people I came across who are in on this stuff. A lot of people want to take the easy route, the short route, that quick, oh, I got the quick car or the quick house. But let me explain something to you. You're going to need way more than a house and a car to really have a fulfilling life, okay? If you think that money can buy you some things that can make you more comfortable, which is probably 100% of us, right? You got to recognize how you can get to the money, not just how you can get a house and a car. You got to think bigger than that, because not only are you going to need a house and a car, yeah, that's cool, but you also got to think about all of the small things that you want to do that add up to big things in your life, like going on vacations, being able to fund other people's desires, taking care of people you love and not just you. Don't think so selfish. And the conditional acceptance and the treasury contract will put you in a predicament where you'll be able to pay for whatever you want to pay for. But of course, I would have to go into detail about what a conditional acceptance is in case you don't know. So let me just sum this up real quick. Conditional acceptance. There's a such thing in law called tacit acquiescence, okay? That basically means if you ain't say nothing, then that means you agreed to it, all right? So if you ain't rebut to it, that means you agreed to it. That means you're consenting to it. So tacit acquiescence is what they, quote unquote, aka the companies, the business entities that have defrauded you, because believe me, if you ever utilize your credit whatsoever, they committed fraud on you, bro. 99% of the time. Probably 100, but you know, it ain't like I'm a legal advisor or something. I ain't no lawyer. This ain't legal advice. This just me talking my stuff. You could listen to it, and you should probably listen to somebody else too, not just me, and form your own opinions. But anyways, so whenever you're doing this, you could literally write up a contract with these companies who claim that you owe them money, which you don't, because anytime that you utilize your credit, they're a trustee to your trust. They're accessing your trust, your Sesticate trust that's in your all caps name. And the money is already in there, bro. They're getting the money, and then they're going to pay for whatever it is outright immediately. But you don't know this, or at least a lot of people don't. Hopefully you do, you know what I mean? So since people don't realize what's going on, they're thinking they owe a freaking payment every month for this car that they bought, when really, no, you don't, because they got paid in full from the jump. But they're con artists, bro. They're sociopaths. They have this entire system set up to where they are fooling people into thinking that they owe them money, and they don't. So it's just like a big trick. And if you don't read the laws, if you're not aware of the truth in lending, what a social security number really does, the way the U.S. Treasury functions and all that type of stuff, then you just gonna be getting taken advantage of by these banksters, because they know what's up. When you go to the bank, they never gonna tell you that it's illegal for them to deny you credit. They not finna, what? Well, they gonna deny you if you got quote unquote bad credit, if you got a bad payment history. Bro, it's illegal for them to ever deny you. But did you know that? But anyway, so these folks have been conning people into paying them year after year, basically working their whole life just to pay these payments. And not only that though, but if you don't pay them, right, this is what they go do. They go sell the debt, alleged debt, to another company, a third-party company. So then you might have a third-party debt collector coming at you, trying to get you to pay them. And you definitely ain't got no contract with them. That's illegal too, because that means that the company that you did have an agreement with, they just went and they sold your private information. And you, mind you, this is where the conditional acceptance come in at. Because if this person just violated your privacy and y'all's agreement, that agreement that we did have, for example, if you go and buy a car, that agreement that you're going to pay them for freaking, 36 months or whatever it is, even though they got the money up front. But even then, that agreement is now null and void because they violated the agreement. They just committed a crime. So you can get them to cancel the debt outright, but you got to know that the pen is more mighty than a sword, right? You got to actually be willing to write letters. You got to comprehend what 1099-C is and get these fools to cancel use 1099-C to cancel whatever debt that it is that you got. You can do this on your own. Like, everybody be thinking they need a savior or something, but bruh, you need to be your own savior when it comes to this type of stuff. Seriously. Because you might come across somebody who know a little bit about this stuff, but bruh, the rabbit hole's so deep, you ain't gonna come across too many people in the world that know more than you about it if you actually dedicate your time and your energy to figuring it out. But a majority of it is really just reading comprehension. Read the freaking codes, these different codes and acts. You know what it means when somebody talking in code? That means that somebody knows what it means, but if you ain't in on it, you're not gonna understand what it means, right? You know, like, you're not gonna be able to access certain things if you don't know what the code is. You know, like if you punching in a code on a safe, for example, or what have you. So, and an act, which just basically means they're pretending, because all of this is a big fake. But anyway, so you got to know how to do this conditional acceptance thing. Of course, I'm not going to go into great detail about it in this video because it very much so is different for every situation. It's not going to be the same thing if you got defrauded by a credit card company as is if you got your car repossessed. And yes, it is very much so illegal for them to send somebody to come take your car from you. And if you get foreclosed on with your house or something like that, like all this stuff is different. You can access credit for so many different things, cars, clothes, jewelry, furniture. I mean, you get a point, electronics, etc. And anytime that these companies are asking for your social security number, they are now under the fiduciary obligation to make sure that they're taking care of your needs as a beneficiary to this trust. You don't need to be pulling a bunch of strings. You don't need to be doing too much when you're playing the role of beneficiary. All you do is benefit. You don't even get to represent yourself and make decisions for the trust. And of course, this also comes into play whenever you do something like get a ticket or something, or if you need to end up in court. You ain't even supposed to be in no courtroom, bro. You ain't even supposed to be in there for no traffic ticket. If you ever paid a traffic ticket, you got tricked into thinking that you are the trustee to your trust. You're not even supposed to be making no executive decisions for your trust. So you paying money to the court or to the city or whatever, that's actually illegal. But of course, they'll let you defraud yourself. That's fraud. But because, trust fraud, that's a violation. You are only supposed to be the beneficiary. You're not supposed to be taking no actions as an authorized representative of the trust. Of course, you can be an authorized representative of your own trust. But what I'm saying is that is a tax issue. And anytime that you owe taxes, that's something that's got to do with business. That's in the public. And if you're a private individual, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That got to do with a business entity, aka that all caps name. And that is not you. But it's so many subjects I could talk about when it come to this stuff. But I just wanted to get out there to y'all. Like the 1099A thing, yeah, it's a real thing. Freaking look up the forms. Like it's a real thing. But you also got to recognize that it's way bigger than just getting one thing out of these fools. They owe you a lifetime worth of benefits. Do you realize that they are the reason why you ain't got no money? Bro, these folks set up a system that is, the money is backed by nothing. They can make money out of thin air. If you haven't read the book or listened to the audio book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, read that book, bruh. Read that book. Okay, you're going to find out a whole bunch of valuable information. Very valuable information. If you ain't got the time to read it, listen to the audio book, bro. Listen to the audio book. But so yeah, anyway, when it comes to the conditional acceptance, just do a heck of a lot of research on what that means and what kind of contract you would need to write up in order to get that done. They're not going to be able to meet all of the requirements that you set them to, because you set the rules in the conditional acceptance. So if you tell this company, oh, so you say I owe you some money, prove to me that I owe you some money, give me $100,000 for wasting my time, you're gonna mention all of the freaking codes and laws that they broke by committing fraud and pretending to have a fiduciary obligation, or not pretending because they definitely do, but actually not benefiting you in the ways in which you felt necessary. You want to mention all of the different things they concealed, aka the truths that they hid about what's really going on, etc., etc. It's a lot that you got to write up. It's probably going to end up being a packet full of papers. And that's the thing. People want to be so lazy and get somebody else to do everything for them. But bro, you can be a multi-millionaire if you just do this once, and you can do it unlimited times. So this is what you got to recognize. What's really worth your time? Is it worth your time to spend 12 hours a day at your job and make minimum wage, or what translates to basically living off minimum wage, living in poverty your whole life just trying to get by? Or maybe find a way to dedicate, I don't know, a total of 12 hours or maybe even a total of 12 days to figuring this part out, and then getting the treasury contract done once you get the conditional acceptance. Of course, you got to know how to send this stuff in the mail. You got to know who to send it to. You got to send this junk to everybody. You got to send it to the attorney general. You got to send it to all of the highest executives in that company. Like, bro, it's deep. You got to find the individuals who are responsible for this, like the CEO, the CFO, goddamn, the COO, like, bro, everybody. Freaking send it to their grandma too if you want to, but of course that was just a joke. But yeah, definitely you gotta do a lot of research to know how to do it, but it's worth it. We know. Till next time, good luck.